Hey, happy, beautiful, amazing day. Dr. Bob Rakowski here. We are on April 19 of 2020 with a SARS-CoV update. And how about the facts? Just the facts. So I happen to really like this quote. Everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but not to his own facts. So let's see what the facts are. When it comes to this COVID thing, 80% of the cases are mild. We will show you that from the NIH itself. Two, there are proven strategies to keep people from progressing from mild to severe. And we've known now those for several months. Nobel Prize winning research going back well over 100 years shows that the plasma from recovered patients helps sick patients. So we have something proven to help sick patients, but we need to have recovered patients. So that literally means that those that are at low risk need to be exposed if we're going to help the high risk people. The statistics are very exaggerated. Stanford came out with that, and some people want to question Stanford. You can't question Stanford. This is a university of integrity and phenomenal science, and one of the tops in the world. I shouldn't say you can't question it. You can, but then dig in and you'll find that they're the real deal. The virus has mutated many times since January. And these are from people that have investments in making vaccines. And what are you creating a vaccine for? A virus that's going to mutate again and again and again before the vaccine is ever out? So we'll take a look at this from WebMD. The quote directly from them: from what we know so far, the CDC, the US Centers of Disease Control, reports that 80% appear to be mild to moderate. This was the International Journal of Biologic Science. They looked at people that did Western medicine and traditional Chinese medicine, which is going to be natural medicine. Or in the States, we call it functional medicine, personalized medicine. So we take the stats that they had that were published, and if people did Western medicine only, their progression from light to severe cases was 46.2%. And of those that got severe, 39% would die. Now we know more about the ventilators now, so we should have less dying. They were actually damaging lungs with too much pressure from the ventilators. Fortunately, we know that, but let's take the real numbers. At that time, if we took 1,000 patients, 46% probability from light to severe, that'd be 462 cases. If 39% of those would die, that's 180 deaths. Now, with traditional Chinese medicine, only 7.4% progressed from light to severe. That means 74 of the 1,000, and 8.8% of those would die. That's 6, maybe 7 deaths out of that original 1,000. So what does that mean? If people did natural strategies to enhance their immune system, 27x less probability of dying. That's very, very strong. Here's the Nobel Prize winning researcher, Emil Adolf von Behring. And let's take a look. It says, before vaccines, doctors borrowed antibodies from recovered patients to save lives. So we need people that have been exposed and have recovered. We'll show you the stats on that, but your probability of recovering if you're under the age of 40 is almost 100%. Now, unless you have something very severely compromised going on in you. Doctors first tried injecting patients with blood plasma in the early 1900s, and the method has been used against diphtheria, the 1918 flu pandemic, measles, and Ebola. So here's what NIH says: when enough of the community is immunized against a contagious disease, that means by being exposed to it, most of the members are protected from infection because there's little opportunity for the disease to spread. So plenty of immunologists said closing the schools was ridiculous. You get all of these young, strong, healthy, fit people. Now, if you have someone fighting childhood cancer on some immunosuppressive drug or with a serious condition, hey, keep those people home. Those are the small percentage, but keeping 100% of the people at home prolongs the problem and makes it worse for all. This was the study out of Stanford. And here's what they basically said. The death rate from this, from testing their county with a very good sample, with very good science, with some of the best scientists on the planet, said the death rate was probably 0.12 to 0.2%. Now, what does that relate to around the globe? About 26,000 COVID-related deaths. Then if we look at what we saw from Italy, which I'll show in a few moments, 99% of the people there that died had something else going on. So this is from the National Center of Vital Statistics. Anybody can look that one up, cdc.gov. And then, if you can screenshot it and type that in directly, or just look National Centers of Vital Statistics. So how many deaths did we have from all causes? So far related this year, 582,000 US alone. Now let's look at COVID deaths. Under the age of 1, none. 1 to 4, 2 deaths. Very, very sad. I'm thinking something else was going on with those kids, maybe childhood cancer. 5 to 14, 1. Again, something else going on. 15 to 24, 13 deaths, less than 0.1%. 25 to 34, we see the numbers go up. But here's the data, and I'll blow it up in just a moment here. When we take 55 and above, 91% of the deaths from COVID were 55 and above. Now, in my book, 55 is young, right? 74 is young. 84, you're starting to get up there, but look at this. Over 97% of the people 55 and above died from something other than COVID. Now, that is the National Center of Vital Statistics. Over 97% died of something else. So why are we locking away 100% of the population? So this was one publication that showed that the coronavirus has mutated into 2 different strains. But this gentleman, Harvard professor David Sinclair, I will call him a brainiac's brainiac. He's a very, very sharp character. He and I don't necessarily agree on philosophy. He's more medically minded. Hey, drugs can get you longer life and better aging. I think healthy living gets you longer life and better aging. But with that said, you can check the interview that he gave, and this was a week or so ago, time 7:45. There's your YouTube link on the Tom Bilyeu YouTube channel. He said the virus mutates often. We already have 20 new strains since January. Now, he has multiple investments in multiple companies that are all working on a vaccine, 20 new strains. Now, we also said, look, I'm not worried about that. The mutations don't seem that critical at this point in time. 20 already since January? If it's 18 months for a vaccine, how many mutations will we have? So Trump pulled the WHO funding, that's a fact. And the organization must be held accountable. What's he talking about? Somehow, some way, it seems that they were on a high level responsible for the panic and for the inflated statistics. Time will tell. So Ben Franklin, remember when there was tyranny going on, he said we must indeed all hang together or we will hang separately. We are all stronger together. We are all smarter together. But what does isolation do? Isolation, therefore, creates weakness. So I'm perfectly okay with Bill working at home for the next 18 months. Maybe we'll even get him a new home, right? Maybe, heck, maybe I'm willing to pay for Bill's meals, right, in this new home where he can be among like-minded people. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but Bill, work from home. Work from home for the rest of your life, or at least until we have a new effective vaccine, if you're around there. So what's the summary of all this? You know what? There's a lot of things that don't make sense, but we're going to make sense of them. We have strategies that can help, and they are not isolation. I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, absolutely knowing that we can all be happy, healthy, and successful.